Born and raised in Gympie in Queensland, Linc Phelps released his debut EP in 2022 and since then has released the single Sing a Little Louder, which came out earlier this year. He has a brand new single called 100%, and I'm going to ask him if he's giving his 100% to his music. I'm sure he is. Hello, Linc. Good to meet you.
Hello, Sophie. Likewise. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on to talk about your music and also some other things. And I'm going to start by saying that given that you grew up in Gympie, home of the muster, was country music inevitable?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it's in the water around here. And funnily enough, in high school, when I started playing in bands, and we actually had a country music program, I guess you'd call it, at school. A lot of my friends, though, were, they were into sort of, what would I say, like, I guess, hip hop and pop music and all these different things. So, yeah, they kind of used to, make fun of me a bit for playing country music. But, I talk to them now and or you go to their house or whatever and Luke Combs is on the stereo and.
Yeah, it's an interesting shift that's been going on, isn't it?
Very much so. And I just have a bit of a chuckle to myself. And, what to say, we're happy to have you on board. We're an inclusive genre.
But I bet they don't give you any credit for having been far ahead of their taste.
No, absolutely not. And they never will, but that's fine.
So when you were getting a bit of stick for listening to country music, what were you listening to?
So I've got mum to thank for that. So she used to listen to a lot of Australian stuff. So she listened to Graeme Connors, John Williamson, Colin Buchanan back in those days. And then the American side of things was Brooks and Dunn, Reba McEntire, Clint Black, Diamond Rio. So a lot of really, really good quality, 80s and 90s country.
Graeme Connors actually comes up quite a bit as an artist that people have listened to when they were younger. And so I think there's possibly a very subtle, widespread influence of Graeme Connors on Australian country music artists that even he may not realise.
Totally. And I reckon what it is he kind of had this like James Taylor-esque thing going on, and he sort of, I guess, found a way with his like how would I say, like tropically feel to sort of I guess bridge that gap between maybe between the bush and the coast, I suppose.
That's such a great way to look at it, actually. And I love the term tropicali. Let's go with it. So at what stage as a music fan did you stop and think, this may be something I would like to do?
Yeah, so I started playing guitar when I was about 10, and I used to follow my sister to singing lessons and kind of annoy her, and then that's kind of a bit full circle. My daughter now goes to the same singing teacher, which is pretty amazing. So, but yeah, it was always I think it was always in the family for me and my sister anyway. And then started playing in bands when I was about 14, and we were going out and doing RSLs and beer gardens and stuff with the school. So that was a really amazing introduction to playing live and gigging as a working muso. And then I went to Camerata. I'd been to Tentworth. Initially I met Joan Douglas, and I got a scholarship to Camerata, and so country, I've always been around it and I've always loved it. Then I did the CMAA college, and I've been to Nashville and a bunch of different things. So, but I think I don't know, had to live life a little before I actually found my feet as a writer, and before I had something to say.
Yeah. I think that makes total sense. And for those who aren't aware, Camerata is what the Junior Academy of Country Music used to be called. And I do remember when it was still called that. And then obviously you did junior and senior. So they are quite different courses. Was it that as you aged out of the junior one, you thought, well, I'm interested in what they're going to offer at the senior one, or you just were really keen to continue your education in whatever form?
Yeah, I think I was just surrounded by friends that I'd made at Camerata. And I look back now and some of those people, Ashleigh Dallas was there, and stuff. So, that's a few years ago now. And I think who else would have been, I think maybe Isaac Kennedy, who's, you know, playing guitar in Lee Kernaghan's band now. And it was, yeah, the industry sort of did a pretty good job of fostering that that talent and the excitement and the, you know, longevity for people to stay interested and go through those programs and stuff. So yeah, it was a sort of a natural progression, I'd say.
And when you said that you wanted to have something to write about, so that you weren't writing and releasing music at that stage that you were going through the academy, I would imagine there is a bit of pressure though, and perhaps self-applied pressure where you think, well, I'm doing all this stuff. Should I be getting music out there? So it would take quite a bit of discipline, I imagine, to think, no, I am going to wait till I have the right songs to release and something to say.
Absolutely. And I think when you, you know, when you rush it, there was probably some songs that I released early in the piece when I was younger that were absolutely horrible. And you know, you
can't find them online, Linc. I've looked.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. So yeah, I think it's all part of growing, and it's just, you know, yeah, progress. And I say quite often, if I'm doing some songwriting mentoring or just talking to a younger artist or an artist that probably, yeah, doesn't have, I guess, as much experience yet, that, you know, you're right where you're meant to be at the moment, and you can't rush it. You know, and yeah, it sounds a little cliche, but I guess everything happens for a reason, and you end up in these positions, and these opportunities come about and all that kind of stuff, sort of at the right time. So you just have to trust the process.
Mm-hmm. It is hard though in a culture that I think still prioritizes youth, and that idea of, you know, if you haven't made it by a certain age, then you're not going to make it at all, even when country music is a genre in which you can emerge at literally any age.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, you know, I think back to the Golden Guitars at the start of the year, and you know, that's, I think the Australian country industry does a pretty good job at representing, yeah, people at all stages, you know, from new talent. And then obviously, you know, someone like you know, Alan Caswell, you know, receives an award for his extensive songwriting career. So yeah, I think they do their very best to encompass all of that, and sort of yeah, cover all bases. But you're exactly right. There's yeah, there's no hard and fast rules or anything. It's open to, yeah.
So when you were a kid learning guitar at 10 and your sister was learning to sing or having singing lessons, were your parents musical? Is that why that was developing in the two of you?
No, other than, I think I remember, you know, sometimes mum, you know, going out with her friends every now and then to the RSL, maybe to sing karaoke. But no, just my sister and I. And yeah, mum still can't sing. And yeah, so there's my sister still sings a little bit now, but yeah, she went down a completely different career path, and yeah, here I am, you know.
Well, and actually, since you've mentioned karaoke, I have a question. As a professional singer, do you ever engage in karaoke? Because I have a theory that professional singers are like, nah, I'm not going anywhere near
it. Look, I was probably like that for a while, like just going, oh my God. But I reckon as I've gotten a little older and stuff, I've probably just relaxed a whole lot more. And I'd have a crack. I think it's just funny. And, you know, if you're out with a bunch of mates, having a bit of fun, why not?
Yeah. Therefore, the next question is, what would be your karaoke songs? Or perhaps karaoke artist is a better way to look at it.
Oh, well, so I guess this takes me back to my youth as well. Probably on the bed, like standing on the bed with my sister and a couple of hairbrushes singing Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Meatloaf. Yeah, so I'd probably give that a crack, I reckon.
Look, I think Meatloaf is a great choice because you really get the crowd engaged with that. Yeah. So when you started performing at 14, you said you were going to RSLs and you're playing in beer gardens. I imagine it's kind of a steep and fast education for a teenager to see how adults behave in their natural habitat.
Completely. And one place in particular we used to play is like halfway between Gympie and Rainbow Beach. And it was called the Silky Oak Tea Gardens. And there was a lot of, you know, a lot of local farmers used to come down on the Sunday afternoon and stuff. And I remember clear as a bell, you know, someone coming up to the stage and going, you know, with a beer in hand going, oh, g'day, mate. Hey, do you know how to play Roadhouse Blues? And I was like, oh no, sorry, we've been learning some country songs. So it was it made us realize and learn real quick that you know, you don't have to be a jukebox, but you've got to have a few of those tricks up your sleeve when you're playing live.
Is there one song that you have always played live, or that you did always play live at that stage, rather?
Yeah. So do you remember Drift Away by Dobie Gray?
Yeah.
That kind of entered the repertoire early because it was such a great song to sing. And it's just stuck with me.
So that there's another karaoke song you can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, you've got to pick one you got to nail, and that would be yeah.
So if anyone's coming to see you perform live, Linc, they know they could wander up to the stage, request Drift Away, and you'll do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we did it a couple of weeks ago. I know you've had Ruby Jane on the show. And Rubes was at a show with us up in Rainbow Beach, and we got her up on stage with the band and played Drift Away together, and she nailed it.
That's gold. That is gold, gold, gold for Australia, as I like to say. So for you as an artist, as a singer, and also as a songwriter, who have been your biggest influences?
Number one would be Bruce Springsteen. I'm gonna say probably number two. I think in those real formative years, growing up in Queensland and dreaming of the world stage, and kind of in that country scene as well, making headway with a band at times, but then also with an acoustic guitar, and watching Keith Urban do that.
Right.
And of course, the boy from Caboolture, over in Nashville and all that stuff. So yeah, Keith was a massive part of my formative years. I'd say I used to watch his live DVDs, over and over and over again, and almost study them, to see the way he interacted with the crowd and all those kind of things. And then these days, and songwriting wise, it would be probably a toss up between Bonnie Raitt and John Prine.
Right. Both excellent models to have. And you mentioned that you had gone to Nashville at some stage. Was that to write, or was it just to take in the scene and see what happened?
So when I was a young whippersnapper, I was playing bass in an outlaw country sort of rock and roll band, and we made a trip over there. So we went to Memphis and Nashville and stuff. We cut a few songs at Sun Studio, and that was just what an experience, something I'll never forget. So yeah, we hope to get back soon. I'd really love to go to I'd really love to visit Texas, and I want to go to New Orleans, the home of the boogie.
Since you went to Memphis, did you make the pilgrimage to Graceland?
We did, yes. Yeah, and wow. One part I totally remember is while Lisa Marie is narrating it, and you've got the headphones on and you're listening and stuff, and just the haunting, the haunting. I didn't even know how to describe it when you walk, when you walk through there and she's talking about, different things happening and stuff. It was just a really surreal, quite emotional experience.
Well, yeah, it evokes so much, I think, that building in many different levels and layers.
Exactly, yeah. And to be there and to be in it, and sort of hear those things, but then put yourself in that position and think about the history that was made there is just incredible. And then I referenced it. I referenced the Jungle Room in a song of mine that I wrote a couple of years ago called Soul, and it talks about have you got a heart as big as Elvis down in the Jungle Room, and it was just walking through there, it was like, wow, who designed this thing, and it was just his favorite place to be. So
yeah, right. Well, talking of songwriting, you have been writing songs with Gavin Carfoot, who is a highly esteemed songwriter and co-writer. How did you start writing with him?
My relationship with Gav, firstly, was built on our love of KFC.
That is not where I thought that would go.
That's an important start. So, but no, quite a few years ago, Gab's friend Nolan and Gab's other friend Jared Porter, of course, great, country artist and songwriter, reached out to me about an event called Song Culture in Brisbane, and I had heard Jared's name. I had no idea who Gav or Nolan were, and got back to him and said, yeah, I'd love to come. And then COVID happened, so yeah, we didn't quite get to work together then. And then yeah, Gav just sort of kept emailing me, and then the opportunity came up for the Song Muster in Gympie. Right. And yeah, we met at that. He invited me to be a mentor along with Jen Myers, Melody Moko. This year we had Kelly Bruhaha, which is amazing, and then Claire Quinn and Lawrence from a band called Those Folk. And yeah, so Gavin and I just sort of started talking, and we've got a lot in common. We've both got beards. We're both pretty normal blokes that like country music. We both love Toyotas. That's pretty important. And so yeah, our relationship has just grown and grown and grown. And yeah, he's now one of my best mates, which is really awesome as well. And someone that I completely trust, which is super important when you're building a team in this industry. Yeah, just in life, I guess. So yeah, he's just a good guy. I love him. I love his family. And yeah, we obviously got to make a record together. That was very, very exciting. So yeah, I don't know. I just like him. If he's listening, hello, Gav.
And the KFC, did that come up in the discussion of things you both liked?
Very much so. Yeah. We actually shared KFC on my couch a couple of weeks ago when Queensland lost the state of origin. That's pretty sad. But yeah.
Not for me. I'm in New South Wales.
Sorry, you're breaking up.
And also, you've had it to yourself for long enough.
Look, yeah, that is true. When at the end of that game, we sort of looked at each other and went, man, I know how the Blues supporters feel.
Yeah, but we pick ourselves up and move on. And I actually don't watch league, so that's the extent of my knowledge of that. But before you started writing with Gavin, did you do most of your writing on your own?
I did, yes. So co-writing was not completely foreign to me, but yeah, it didn't happen very often. I would generally take an idea and yeah, just sit down by myself with the guitar and a notepad. I'm pretty old school. I still use like I've got a book, and I like to use a pencil, and then we go into co-writes, and I call them the whiz kids. When you get people in there on their laptops and they're typing at 1,000 words a minute and getting all these ideas down. But that's necessary as well. So to capture, when you've got 4 or 5 people in a co-write, you're trying to capture all those ideas. So, but yeah, so I got pretty used to writing by myself, and then Gav sort of got me on the journey of co-writing, and I still love both.
Right. I think there is something to be said for holding the pencil and writing that way, particularly when it comes to remembering what you've written, because I do think there's a correlation between the brain and the hand making the movement, whereas if you're doing that, it's not necessarily going to stick. But that's just my own theory.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one other thing we talk about, and Jen Myers is really good at this, she's such an experienced songwriter, is the freedom to not self-edit. So you're more likely, I guess, to do that with a computer because you can quickly backspace and change a word or whatever, whereas with a pencil, it's just all coming out. And then you've got to sort of dig back through and work out what you want to keep and stuff. So a lot of the time when the idea is flowing, you want to capture that, and then you can edit later.
And speaking of the rooms where there might have been a few people, you were one of the writers on Our Church, which was the Matt Cornell, Adam Brand song. And I believe that came out of Song Culture. My memory serves me correctly.
It did, yes. Yeah. And oh man, what a song. What a experience for us. And what a great cause that it ended up, the song being used for the memorial, and yeah, that was just a really special time. Maddie and Brandy are both just really good, genuine fellas. And they were just so kind. I remember getting, Maddie would text me and go, hey mate, the song's hit this number on the chart, or this is what's happening, or whatever. And I was like, oh, awesome, man. And he didn't have to do that. A lot of times, artists will take a song, and the writers will, get acknowledgement in different places and stuff. But yeah, he was just really genuine about sort of sharing that excitement and the love around that whole project. So that was, it was really amazing to be part of that, right?
Mm-hmm. So you've had some very effective co-writes, and one of them is your latest song, 100%. But before that, I'm going to talk about Sing a Little Louder, which you released earlier this year. And I believe that's the title track of the album you're planning to release next year.
It isn't.
Oh, it isn't. I have either misread something or I've been given the wrong information. I'm going to choose the latter.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't decided on the title track yet. So you're definitely not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's in the mix.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's still in the works. There's I think we're just too excited about a lot of the songs, so it's been hard to nail one down. Right. There's a duet on the album with Melody Moko, which I'm very, very excited about. And that's a song I actually wrote with my wife. And I may as well tell the story. I had the idea one morning. The TV was on like sunrise while we were having brekkie or something, and then I went to the toilet, and I was sitting on the toilet. I had this idea, and I came back out, and I'm like, I got this idea for a song, and I started writing it. And she's like, oh yeah, what about this and this and this? And literally, I reckon within about half an hour, we had this song written. So it's just it's a really beautiful song about just being kind to yourself. And so
Had you written with her before?
No, never. I've written songs about her. Mm-hmm. I used to say I've got a song called Butterflies and Boomerangs, and it was like a makeup song because we'd had an argument one day, and I went and sat on the end of the bed and wrote it, and then came back out, and and then she would tell people, she's like, oh, how do you stay angry at someone when they write your love song?
It's a great tactic. Yeah. Probably only to be deployed sparingly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Otherwise it will lose its power. But now, the latest single, 100%, when did you write that?
Ooh, I'm going to say about maybe 12, just over 12 months ago. Mm-hmm. Sitting on my back veranda here at home, Gav had come up to Gympie for a couple of days, and he had the idea of 100%, and he had the chorus, and he'd been saying to me for a while, I'm going to write this song called 100%. I'm going to write this song called 100%. And I was like, what are you talking about? I've got no idea. And then we would exchange texts all the time with ideas or share notes on the phone. So it was a very broad kind of thing. And we never intended to write a record at all. It was just going to be a couple of songs, maybe release a few singles and sort of get the ball rolling again and sort of see what happened. And then before we know it, we had, so there's 10 songs on the record. We had way more than that. And so we're just sitting around, and he said 100%, we've got this idea and stuff. And I say it all the time, and that's where it's come from. Yeah. Okay. I'm conscious of it now because because of all the PR I've been doing, and I've been copping a fair bit of flack from most presenters and
Well, I don't think you've said it once in our conversation, so there you go.
No.
So you are self-editing, which Jen Mize told you to not do.
Oh, I know. She's going to be up me when she hears this.
But it's also, it's a phrase that has double meaning, which is you could say it as an affirmative answer, 100%, or it can mean giving 100% to something. And I think in the song, you can take it both ways. So I'm wondering, as an artist, there are probably moments when you've lost your nerve or you feel it wavering and you can't give 100%. So I'm wondering if you sometimes have to remind yourself to stay the course and actually recommit that 100% to your art.
Yeah, you need to write down what you just said, because that was a brilliant quote. Yeah.
Oh, look,
Yeah.
I'm loving my self-stick about this, Linc.
Yeah. No, you are so right. And I think, yeah, it does get hard at times. Absolutely. And trying to, in the words of Bon Jovi, keep the faith, I suppose, and keep plugging away. So, yeah, it is. It's a good, celebratory reminder to, if you're going to do something, give it 100%, give it your whole, give it your whole heart, and sort of, don't leave any, stone unturned, I suppose.
But it can be hard because, especially in over recent years, it hasn't been the easiest time to be an artist. I think things are still recalibrating on the live front, and so it requires artists to really keep coming back to the well, so to speak, and remind themselves that they can and that they should, and that it's actually a worthwhile thing to do when there are many other things you could be doing with your time.
Yeah, you're so right. And I think the other, like the biggest one for most people probably is, financially.
Mm.
That is super hard. And I think we based, funnily enough, we based a lot of this record and a lot of the writing around, I guess, around that sort of hustle of working a job, having a business, and still grinding away at the music and doing it because you love it. And I guess seeing the smile on people's faces at a show or a festival, or someone that hears a song and goes, "Oh yeah, that happened to me," or "I can relate to that," or whatever. Those little moments are they're pretty special. So I think that keeps the fire in the belly going.
Well, you're likely to see some of those smiles at the Gympie Muster. Now, you've just done the Song Muster because that takes place at a separate time to the Gympie Muster, but the Gympie Muster is happening in August. So are you looking forward to that and just toddling down the road?
Totally. It's it always feels like home. I think I've been on so many of those stages over the years, and it's just a really, really nice familiar feeling. Seeing so many faces from that you've met so many years ago and stuff, and catching up with them once every 12 months and hearing about their life and all those sorts of things. So it's bloody awesome. I just I love it so much. I'm so proud of this region and what we have to offer creatively, and just everything agriculturally and all sorts of stuff. I love Gympie, and I love living in Queensland, and the fact that the muster is in my backyard is very special to me.
Do you remember the first year you played there?
Yes, I have some photos. I think I was about 11 or 12 in the Talent Quest.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll have to dig those. Mum, I've got one here somewhere, but I think Mum's got a whole album of all those photos and paper clippings and stuff. And
were you excited or nervous?
No, it would have been absolutely crapping my dacks.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to suffer from really bad, really bad nerves, and I think it's just gotten better with experience over the years.
I think also it must get better when you realize that the main thing that most performers would be afraid of is making mistakes, and no one really notices if you just press on.
Yeah, that's right. I embrace the errors now.
They make for good stories.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's getting a lyric wrong in your own song, it's whatever. We're all here to have a good time.
And for all the audience knows, you just decided to change it on the spot.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Now, you do have another gig later in the year in Bundaberg, and you will be sharing a stage with Darlinghurst. And the place you're playing actually gets quite a few good acts coming by. I think it's Udi's Cafe in Bundaberg.
It is Udi's Cafe, and they call it Bundy's Bluebird.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, which is very cool. So yeah, super intimate. Yeah, picture your favorite coffee shop, and yeah, they've put a stage, beautiful little stage in the corner, and you know, beautiful sort of candlelit room, and yeah, it's just amazing. And they've built a really strong and loyal music loving fan base. So regardless of the act that's playing or touring through or whatever, yeah, they've got a consistent, you know, crowd that just love coming and supporting live music.
I think you sold it with the Bundy's Bluebird pitch there.
Yeah.
And in between the gigs that may pop up, or are you just focusing on those two, the Muster and Bundaberg?
Yeah, there'll be. I'm sure there'll be other stuff that'll pop up, and I'm gonna start. I've got plenty of ideas, so I'm gonna start whittling away at record number 2.
Right.
Yeah, pretty soon. So I think yeah, just I fall in and out of creative spaces. It depends sort of what's going on in life, I suppose, and how busy things are and that. And yeah, I'm sort of going to try and harness that a little bit and get a few tunes for the second record and yeah, just maybe try and, you know, be over prepared for once in my life.
Well, for now, we can anticipate some more songs from the next record, because it sounds like you've recorded either all of it or some of it.
Yeah, it's yeah, so 10 tracks. It's all in the bag.
Okay.
Yeah, ready to go. So yeah, I
Now you've got to just be patient, I guess.
Oh, I know. It kills me. I wish I could release it tomorrow. But yeah, it's all part of the plan. And yeah, there's I've got a great team now. So I've signed on with Nibor Records. So super excited about that. And Kaz is a great person. And I really wanted to build my team this year and sort of and yeah, grow that working community around what we're doing. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, we've got some really cool stuff planned and yeah, so I'm just yeah, sitting back and trusting the process.
Well, it sounds like you're giving 100%. There's my commitment to your music, and the latest single is 100%. Linc Phelps, so great to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much for having me, Sophie.